And one of his first post-WWE interviews, we have recently released WWE star Paul London. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastical.
Were you shocked when you got the, your release, of course,
No.
with your papers?
Not at all.
Not at all?
I was shocked that they were still paying me, to be honest with you. No, I mean, they're the types to need an opportunity to strike, and if someone's facing them, they're not going to strike them, but when someone's back's turned, it's an opportune shot. And so, I was out with ailments, and it seemed like a reasonable opportunity for them to part ways, you know what I mean? Like, they can hang on to a kid with a brain tumor for several years. The second someone who breaks their back for them literally gets injured, it's adios. So, that didn't really surprise me that at all.
Definitely. Real quick, I do want to remind people that if you have questions for Paul London, you can send them in the chat room or call 503-213-3604.
And so, the less wrestling-related, the better.
The less wrestling-related, the better. Okay. My next question for you is, in your WWE debut, you actually took on Brock Lesnar. What was that like for you?
It was very quick. And, it was interesting. It was a bit of a shocker just because I showed up in Hartford, which I guess was my new hometown all of a sudden. But I showed up in Hartford. They said, "Oh, you're going to do this thing with this guy, Mr. McMahon, and his stable or something." I was like, "Oh, okay, what could you do? Go with the best." And so it was like, "Oh, fine." And they're like, "Oh, you're wrestling Brock." I was like, "Okay, well, am I really wrestling Brock, or am I just tackling dummy Brock?" So, needless to say, I learned some quick lessons on that day as far as what to expect in my career. But I had fun, and Brock was a gentleman, and it was fun. It was an opportunity for Brian and I to show an association because they weren't using him, and I was needing a reason to not wilt away and rust down in OVW, like so many do. And so the opportunity arose, and it worked out, even though they never really capitalized. Brian, something real quick. Brian and I aren't into revenge. We are not vengeful people. If you beat us up, destroy us, kill our families, we probably won't do anything about it. That's how the perception is. Because anytime someone would do something bad to us, there was never any revenge. We would just take it on the chin and walk away, I guess. So another early lesson at an early stage in the career, but nonetheless, it was fun. It's fun to be in a tornado. That's what it felt like.
Some say Brock Lesnar was very stiff as a worker. What did you feel working with him?
He's obviously a very massive individual. You know what I mean? Yeah. Plus, he's showing his dominance in UFC. I didn't think he was necessarily stiff, like some people that drive around in limousines with cow on their thumb. But I didn't think that Brock was unnecessarily stiff at all. To be honest with you. And he thanked me afterwards, and from there on out was always very kind to me in the locker room, which, he may not have been to many other people, but I think he understood that I was doing a big favor for him. Mm-hmm. And he was also doing one for me.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
He was very cool.
Oh, for sure. What are your memories of teaming with Billy Kidman and winning the tag titles?
I never liked him as a person, never liked him at all. I admired his work in WCW when he was about 100 pounds lighter. And but other than that, I thought he was pretty mediocre as a worker and not really entertaining at all. And he kind of looked like what the hell is that guy's name? Scott Baio. He kind of looked like a combination of a fat Scott Baio and Ralph Macchio. Although that's an insult. That's a kind of insult in Ralph Macchio. But no, I mean here's the thing with Brian, we had each other's backs. With Kidman, he was not doing anything. See, before what I was talking about, lack of entertainment. And So he needed something to do, and people were like, hey, these guys both have dark hair. Hey, these guys are both tan. Hey, these guys are both around the same age. Or not same age, hell no. These guys are like around the same height. And hey, one's, bigger than the other. Not a good bigger either. And then, hey, they both like to go to the top row. One vastly much more often than the other one. But big surprise. And so I was like, hey, let's make a tag team out of these guys. And so, it's kind of like the weird equation that doesn't quite measure up every time you try and redo the math. Like, wait, are you sure? Okay. So I was hoping to learn some stuff from him as a veteran, but instead he mostly just kind of threw me under the bus most of the time just to keep himself over with the boys. And I was kind of like, scoundrel. But big surprise.
Definitely.
How was it tagging with how was it working with the Dudleys, for the most part?
Working with Devon was always cool. Bubba was cool maybe 5% of the time. And the other 95% of the time he was either crying about trying to change the outcome of the match. He was always pussyfooting around and moping about something. And I'm sure it's not a shock to anybody, like I'm saying anything new, that he's an asshole. And so, how fun could that be when you're wanting to put something fun together and someone's just being a bitch about it the whole time and whining. And then I remember one match in particular, it might have actually been leading up to when we took the tag titles off of him. He comes up to me and he says, this is going to be the worst day of your life.
Wow.
And all I could do was laugh. I was just kind of like, is this fucking Humpty Dumpty guy really trying to threaten me? Like, he knows this is pro wrestling, right? And so that's an insult to Humpty Dumpty also. I like fairy tales. And, so anyways, I don't even think that was the tag title match. It was like maybe the match prior, like the big build-up match on like Velocity or Heat or something, because I won't watch that. And I remember we beat them, and then they were gonna, they had to get their heat back, in the tags afterwards, and so I remember he took off his belt and he whipped the shit out of me. I didn't know about it. Like, he just started whipping me with his belt, but he didn't come anywhere near Kidman, because, big veterans. So I always thought he was a little douchebag. I'm sure he still is. And so, whatever, I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
But working with Devon was really cool. Devon was always they both helped in the sense of helping, with structure and teaching me a lot, but I can only imagine that from Bubba's end, he probably saw some young kid coming in, and he was kind of like, man, we're being pushed out of here or rolled out of here. And, I was probably just upset. And, I don't know, I was not able to eat waffles that morning or something. I don't know, but whatever. I don't care. I don't lose sleep over it. Never really have.
Definitely, yeah.
You have a caller?
Hello. All right. Well, All right, well, how do you feel about, thank you. How do you feel about, Evan Bourne using the Shooting Star Press?
I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's pretty funny. I'll tell you a funny story. You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
Sure.
Make me laugh.
I had a dark match this with Charlie Haas in Washington, and I went over with the Shooting Star Press, and this was towards the end of my little run there, and this was, I think, in the summer. This was like July, this past July. So I went over with the Shooting Star Press. The crowd loved it. They hadn't been able to really see it. I had heard that Born Identity was, it's a real original name, by the way. Kudos to the creative team. Evan Bourne, hey, this is a good movie. And so I'd heard they started letting him do it, and I was just kind of like, that's funny, because I could have sworn I've been told it was banned. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to do it anyways. And so I went and did it. I come to the back, and the skateboard kid is sitting up there, and he goes, hey, Evan Bourne uses the Shooting Star, right? I said, what? Are you kidding me? We've been here for like 5 years, both with wet ears. And I said, well, we're on different shows. He's like, oh, well, people will get confused. I said, what? Like, they got confused when Van Damme and Eddie Guerrero feuded over the Frog Splash? Did they explain this to me again? And it's just like, ugh. So then at that point, I finally realized, like, you know what? I've been to high school. I guess I had a lot of people who had personal issues. You know, at high school, it's all about, like, he said, she said, and, like, who you're sitting by at the lunch table and all that stupid nonsense. Well, it was really no different. I just realized, you know what, this is, like, nothing but a personal vendetta against me because I'm better looking than that old man Vince. And, you know, he obviously had some issues with me. I guess he wanted a lackluster shooting star as opposed to an excellent shooting star. And so, you know, nothing against Born Identity's shooting star, but he's half my weight and whatever. You know, he looks like Cirque du Soleil. You know? And by the way, born, if you look it up in the dictionary, it means carried.
Really?
So I'll figure that out. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'd like to thank you for calling in, Jamie.
Jamie, thank you.
AG okay. You got some question or a comment for Paul London?
I do have a question for Paul London. In this regards to last year, can you please tell us the reasoning behind you smiling the day that Vince McMahon died?
Well, I'm sure not the only one that would want to smile on a situation like that. But maybe I was just the only one that had the balls to smile. But also, I'll be flat out honest with you, man. I had no clue what was going on, okay? I had no clue this guy was going to his quote-unquote destruction or demise. I had no idea, okay? I was just told, hey, man, you guys stand in this hallway and, like, this dude's going to walk through here all befuddled and odd and, you know, trying to walk bigger than he really is, you know, and it was like, okay, just react to him. So it was like, okay. And I figured, well, everyone's trying to put on their best acting faces, which is a joke. And so, you know, if you look back there, what's funny to me, before I answer this question fully, is that, you know, my like, hey, you don't suspect me, kind of tongue-in-cheek, silly smile, like, the fact that that is what got the most talk about this, that is what is ultimately funniest to me, because the comedy in that run is if you look at everybody else except me, and then you'll see some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm talking about people trying to look concerned. Like, you got, like, Sylvan or something sitting there, like, trying to look, oh, man, what's going on? Like, it was ridiculous, man. Like, I see better acting on, like, Spanish telenovelas. And so, but no, sure enough, it was my, you know, shiny, pearly whites that stood out. And I do have perfect teeth, and I'm proud of them. And so, yeah, so what if I wanted to show off my teeth? And so, you know, but then I also saw somewhere when I went back over my contract, I looked through there, and apparently I did actually have a no smiling clause in my contract, so I was unaware of that. Like, that was a real surprise to me, because I was like, hey, did you guys get that no smiling clause in your contract? And they're like, what? No, man, no. We got the, you know, don't be entertaining clause, but we didn't get the no smiling clause. I said, really? Oh, that's really cool.
Did Vince ever approach you about that?
Absolutely. Several times.
Well, I have one of these.
Well, I'll just say Colley's manager, that little douchebag, he, okay, there's a lot of, well, I can't say too much, but he basically was on that cried foul and brought the attention, because we did it maybe 20 times, and I smiled every freaking time. So I figured, well, after like the first 5 times, there shouldn't be a problem, right? But alas, it got microscopic. I don't think that's a word, but it got it put under the microscope, and you know, so they love making examples out of people. So whatever.
We want to take more calls?
Yeah, go ahead and take another caller.
All right, we have Wicked Sin on the line. Wicked, you're on.
Yo, what's up? It says on this Wikipedia, and I know how juice and jobber is about Wikipedia and the inaccurate information that it entails. Anyway, it says that you dated Ashley Massaro. I was just wondering what she was like as far as relationship.
Well, relationships in any line of work are generally a lot of work, and especially under such a stranglehold schedule that is the wrestling business, you'll find that most wrestlers are either single or they have like 5 wives, so you can take that for what it's worth, but relationships are very difficult, and I'm, without going into any detail,
I understand.
But she's an extremely nice girl, great head on her shoulders, and she has a massive amount of potential. But life can be stressful.
I understand.
But she's a very nice girl. I have no ill feelings whatsoever, and people grow and do what they have to do, and so I'm a happy man. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be able to breathe some air and feel some soil in between my toes, and so I try and live in my moments, moment by moment. And so hey, we all got to do it, man.
So you're not jealous of? I assume you're not jealous about Brian Kendrick's success or lack thereof on SmackDown.
What would I be envious of? The fact that he lasted 40 seconds in the Battle Royal when I lasted like 6 or 5 minutes? No, I'm not an envious person, to be honest with you. I don't believe in envy. Has nothing to do with religion or anything like that. It's envy is negative energy. So I don't invite it into my life. I don't need it. It does nothing for me. If anything, I try and share positive energy and happiness for people, especially people who have been a pretty big part of my past. And so with Brian, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but that's kind of what helped make us a dynamic unit. I had to throw dynamic in there, you like that? And so if anything, I wish him success. I'm sorry to see that his push is basically been replaced by Casper, and so but I'm sure he's not surprised. It looks like it was really just kind of a vehicle to get over Jackson or whatever that guy's name is. And so yeah, I can't remember that name because Ezekiel is like a name out of like Children of the Corn. Like when I'm thinking Ezekiel, I'm thinking of like some pagan crap or like like Jebediah or Malachi or something like that. It makes me think of Children of the Corn, and I think of like these little ginger kids, like in the cornfields and stuff. I'm just like this guy doesn't look like Ezekiel. He looks like T-Bone or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hey man, I appreciate it. I'm gonna get off the line, and I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Okay, man. Take care.
All right. Do you think the WWE made the right decision in breaking you and Brian Kendrick up?
Do I think it was a direct decision?
Yeah, as in, do you think it was a good idea or not?
Well, there's 2 different questions. If I think there was a direct decision in making it, or if I think it was a good idea. I'll answer them both.
Okay.
I think that somewhere one of the head of talent and possibly the boss and possibly Mr. Brian Kendrick had a little private meeting. He said, hey, this guy is too crazy for me. He speaks his mind, tends to get us in a lot of trouble. I don't want his trouble to be my trouble. I would like to do my own thing. Now's the best time because he's hurt. It's funny how everything happens when I'm hurt. And so I think, I think in one end, Brian was looking out for his own career, which is respectable, and not a huge surprise to me because I knew that, it wasn't going to last forever. We were both kind of starting to run out of motivational steam as far as, I think, being fed mediocre opponents. Houston Domino, crappy. So I think towards the decision-making process goes, I obviously have nothing to say about it, and felt that the plug was pulled way too early. But then also, I guess that kind of answers whether I thought it was a good idea or not. Here's the thing. Do we give the people what they want and entertain them, or do we or do we jot off our own personal agendas regardless of what the fans want? And I think you probably know the answer to that yourself by watching the product and being disappointed every time. You're like, why am I still watching this? You know what I mean? So,
very true.
We've all been there. I hope that answered your question. Sorry if it didn't, but I think it did.
Here, gotta ask, what were some of your memories of the ladder match from Armageddon 2006 with the Hardys and William Regal, Dave Taylor, and Eminem?
I knew someone was going to ask about that. I just had an itch. That was probably my favorite match my whole time in WWE, just because it afforded me an opportunity to show a little bit more creative side. It was fun as hell, super fun, and all I remember was that I hate Matt Hardy. I think he's a piece of shit. And so, you know, I was trying to go into that with as professional a mindset as possible without not wanting to just murder this person who's a coward. And but then I also remember having just a good amount of fun. And then I remember like looking up at one point and someone being like, "Hey, you know, I can't remember, like, something Joey's down." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, I guess Mercury's face had already exploded, and so they had carted him off. And I had no idea, you know, like, I thought he had just walked off. He's a retard. No, it's one of my favorite matches, and I had a real privilege for me to be a part of it. And Brian and I willingly killed ourselves to the enjoyment of the fans. And we were both extremely proud of that match. Unfortunately, we felt that Darkman's face getting exploded kind of took the wind out of the sails of that victory. It was kind of like, hey, these guys, you know, did everything they could and whatnot, and let's take the attention away and put it on, you know, Phantom of the Opera.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the heat you have with Matt Hardy, if I can ask?
Oh, he's just a coward.
He don't like Khabib Marunga.
What's that?
Paul, remember I told you that? He don't like Khabib Marunga.
Wait, one more time, I couldn't hear you.
I said he doesn't like Khabib Marunga. Remember? Oh my God, Matt Hardy, you suck.
Oh yeah. So he doesn't like any of that. Anything. Here's someone that doesn't have a sense of humor.
He calls the cops when you rib him.
Yeah. He actually calls the cops when you don't wear his merchandise.
Dude, he called the sheriff for getting pranked.
Yeah.
Like
he actually told on me one time. I accidentally said a cuss word in catering, and he actually raised his hand and told on me. That's how big of a coward he is. Because I spilled some milk.
Did you get along with Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. When he was there, literally, yeah, great guy. Had one of my favorite matches of all time, period, with Jeff that fans will never see because they were in Mexico City, and WWE decided not to promote it and not do it again. You know, we stole a tour, did a tour of Mexico, and Jeff and I went out there on the last day and stole the whole tour. I mean, that was probably my favorite match in WWE because I did it as a singles competitor. Brian was hurt, set out the last day, so I took on Jeff in a singles match, and we tore it down, and so I was extremely proud of that. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll be the common attitude you'll find, is that Jeff's the cool one and Matt's like the fat, ugly, cowardly one, you know, that carries a chip on his shoulder because his brother's like ions more popular than he is. You know what I mean? So he's big surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Is there anyone else like that you think of the same way as Matt Hardy? Is there anyone else you dislike in that way?
Well, it's not. The thing with Matt isn't a hate. It's just a complete, like, no respect. Like, scared.
Yeah.
Just a rotten person. You know, tried to pull the wool over people's eyes and put himself over online, and just the definition of mark for himself. I think anybody who knows him about the fact that, anybody who wears their own merchandise and, nonstop and probably babes of Hardy Boys control. Who the hell has Hardy Boys shampoo? Who knows? Just don't like the guy at all. He's tried to do some things to sabotage my career in the past without going into detail. And just a real coward. Definition of coward. I really like people, and I try and get along with just about anybody. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt always until you prove me otherwise. You understand? I'm sure that's how most people are. As a human being, as a genuine human being, you want to initially give humans the benefit of the doubt as being a kind soul. And it's hard when someone's a manipulative soul who portrays a facade and makes people think they're one way, but, truth always rises to the top in one way or another. And like I said, I don't have any hate. I don't carry hate in my body. It's negative energy. But it doesn't mean I can't be opinionated. It doesn't mean I can't have a lack of respect, complete lack of respect for somebody. Because I've had respect for people at times, and then it all got flushed down the toilet, and I never looked back. So, but no, he takes the douchebag award. So that's about it.
All right, Joey. Joey, thank you for calling.
He has a Corvette. I mean, come on. He has a Corvette. What kind of that's a douchebag's car. all the eight movies, the boyfriend of the main girl, always some douchebag. Always drove a Corvette, right?
True. Definitely.
So, there you go.
We have a caller right here. It's Joey Nitro. Joey Nitro, you are on the air.
All right, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man? Good. What are you up to?
Oh, not much, man. I was thinking about this one episode of SmackDown.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm also a activist. Just think of me as the RVD version of wrestling fans.
Okay, right on, man. We should meet up sometime.
Anyways, I don't really remember the match, but obviously, well, now you know why. But it was with Hoovin to Guerrero, and I think he botched the 450 splash, and I think he kneed you in the face. Do you remember anything about that?
It's not called botched. Wait, where are you calling from, by the way?
I'm calling from Parts Unknown.
Parts Unknown?
He's got a worker hometown.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's where I'm from.
That's awesome, dude. I live around the street.
You ever walk by City Hall? You ever see Warrior kind of sitting there? He's like the mayor of the town.
I have seen, Warrior. Yeah, he bought a house right next to Jack Skellington. Yeah, Parts Unknown. I know that subdivision. Seriously, I just got a house there. It's pretty cool.
Man, I live just about half a mile away in Parts sometimes known.
Well, the property value went down once Luther Reigns moved in, and then when Mordecai moved in, it all went to shit. But
dang man, you should move into Parts sometimes known, bro. The property rate just went up as RVD moved here and put a whole bunch of weed plants in his backyard.
Oh, did he? That's awesome, man. I actually was looking to get into the botany field. So, what was your question again? The movie thing, yeah. Well, here's the difference: is that it wasn't a botched 450; it was just a fat ass 450.
Misplaced, kind of. It was misplaced because even I,
it wasn't misplaced. He was eating way too many burritos, too many tacos that day. He bathed in refried beans that morning, and he just weighed way more than he should have to do 450. He had a lack of coordination.
Wait, hang on.
Pomade. I think some of the pomade in his hair slipped down to his feet.
Was INS in the crowd? Was he scared?
INS, I'm not too sure where he was. He might have been over by the security area looking for imposters. I'm actually really confused on what I'm worried. I better not say anything, or Scientologists will come get me. But no, what happened was he was positive he could do this move, and I'm never one to really turn down anything, but basically he just did a flipping stand on my face. Right. I almost took out my eye. I almost crushed my orbit, and I went to the hospital afterwards and got checked out. And go figure that it's because of his mess up that I would get that move taken away.
Dang. Word association. So basically what he's going to do is he's going to name off a name and just say the first thing that comes to mind, whether it's good or bad.
All right.
First name we'll put up is, of course, the person you last faced in Ring of Honor, Samoa Joe.
Awesome. Not a fan of the face paint. Just awesome talent. Very strong man.
All right.
I like watching him there.
Amazing Red.
Where is he?
Good question.
Where is he? I like, also a fan of him. He reminds me of like a video game character. You know what I mean? He just reminds me of like the super sidekick kind of guy. But fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. All right. Bryan Danielson.
Awesome as well. It's intimidating, how talented this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
He just makes it look so easy, and he's so effective. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that the best in the world moniker is, I don't think that's far-fetched at all. And I'm kind of anticipating the match that I'm going to be having with him in early May as kind of like a Rocky versus Apollo match. So I'm actually trying to do some training pretty intently for it because I want to give him my best. Because he's that high of a talent, and I have nothing but the most respect for him as a person and as a competitor.
Okay. Your old valet from Ring of Honor, Mickie James / Alexis Laree.
Oh, Mickie James, Alexis Laree, big hands and strong legs, and yes, she's cute as a button. She's good talent, awesome, nice girl.
Mm-hmm. All right, Rey Mysterio.
He's unusually massive for someone so small. Incredible. He's just could possibly be a genetic freak also, just because he's 5'5", but just looks like a stack of bricks that can fly. So you're just kind of whoa. Trying to think of a Nintendo character to compare him to, but all I can think of is those flying guys in Mario who they hurt you when you hit them, but I think I'm going in the wrong direction. But Ray's awesome, and a hell of a Spanish teacher.
Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade.
Lance Cade, super cool guy, extremely talented. Trevor Murdoch, super fun to work with. Both guys have a great mind for the business. One of them sings, the other does not. The one that sings tends to kick a little ass sometimes.
All right.
But I like them both.
Yeah. Eminem, which is John Morrison and Joey Mercury.
What was that? Eminem?
Yeah.
I like Nitro. I like Molina. I don't know. Mercury was cool in Ring of Honor, but after I just got wrapped up with the wrong people. Became a douchebag.
All right. John Cena?
A cop? I don't know. He's either just a rapping wrestler or a cop. Have you seen that trailer for 12 Rounds?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh my God! What is? Did you not think you were watching the trailer to the Marine also? Super nice guy. He's probably the hardest working person in the business. But yeah, fun guy to be around.
All right. Randy Orton?
Super cool guy. Probably the most talented guy they have by far.
Okay.
Epitome of natural and a friend. You know what I mean? A friend. I hope he just continues to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise as far as he wants to go, because he deserves it.
Triple H.
The complete opposite of what I just said for Randy. If I had to guess, I would guess that he's not the most honest guy, a bit of a coward. And when I say coward, I mean someone who might secretly set something up and then blame it on somebody else so that he doesn't get the confrontation end of it. So I've got my reasons.
Batista?
Nice guy, always really cool with me and everything. I would have liked to have seen him have a line or two in Smallville, so it's like a bunch of grunting. But yeah, that's about it. I'm still waiting for him to shoot down some people with those machine guns that he's firing away. It looks like he's firing a bunch of blanks, but who knows. But small guy, very powerful man.
We've got about 2 more names, and that's, of course, firstly, Brian Kendrick.
Well, little dude, nasty temper, and hope he finds happiness in his life. I think he's a happy guy and a good dude. Yeah, we'll check one out today.
And
a friend nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. We then have Vince McMahon.
I don't know. I think it was like darkness, black, and like all things negative. Somebody's not really in tune with the audience. Somebody's not in tune with mainstream. Someone who has cemented himself in his own ways, regardless of whether it's beneficial for business. I'm no businessman, but I think I have a much better idea of what people want and what is mainstream compared to him. And I'll just finish it with fascist.
Give me a couple more names, just if that's okay with you?
Sure.
All right. Eddie Guerrero.
Sad. Very sad. Someone who is the purity of the wrestling business, meaning it was his life, but also like a super decent, I say decent with the highest respect, individual who worked hard and partied just as hard, and it caught up to him, and it's a sad story. It was a great loss.
And our last one, this might be just as emotional, but Chris Benoit.
Equally as depressing, if not more depressing, semi-baffling. I think anybody that knew Chris knew he's into something. I think a lot of it's still a big mystery, which kind of makes it creepy.
Yeah.
But the epitome of intensity, the epitome of professional business.
All right. Just want to say thank you very much, Paul, for being a part of the show. JT.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you all for having me on.
Definitely. I'd like to thank my friend Paul London for coming on, definitely helping us out. Paul's a great guy, good friend of mine.
Top-notch bookings, ladies and gentlemen.
TopNotchBookings.com, MySpace.com/TopNotchWrestlingBookings, 503-995-1224. TopNotchWrestlingBookings@yahoo.com. All different ways you can get a hold of Paul London and the many different combo deals that you can get with Paul London. Plus, just signed on with Top Notch Bookings is D'Lo Brown, so you can get maybe.
Oh, cool. I like D'Lo.
So there you go. You can actually get Paul and D'Lo even maybe for your tours. Or Paul, are you interested in doing birthday parties?
I am. Birthday parties, magic shows, bar mitzvahs, proms with the proper written consent.
He said proms with written
family reunions, as long as there's good food and it's free. Stage readings.
Wrestling matches, autograph sections.
Well, wrestling matches are last on this list. One-act plays. I don't do reality TV. I don't do webisodes. Anything that's paying. Gonzo shows. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think what else is on this list. No donkey shows, no bestiality. Let's see, what else? I'm not into scat.
Somebody wants to know if you're available for private strip parties or striptease.
Private strip parties? It depends. As long as it's not Orlando Jordan asking, I'm good. I mean, but, I guess it just depends on who, what, and where. How much?
Any chance we'll see a
strip parties. I mean, I haven't been a stripper in 10 years.
Any chance we'll see a Paul London at RF video shoot interview or something?
Probably not an RF, but there are possibilities of a fully interactive shoot / inside the life, so we can bore the hell out of fans